Welcome to the Big Picture Value Proposition tool. This tool is designed to help you visualize the strategic choices available to your brand. The tool helps you visualize your value proposition and then uses a powerful simulation model to show what might happen when you reposition your brand. You can use this tool to create a business case and visualize your category and the benefits customers use to make purchase decisions. You can then create scenarios by changing your value proposition and the value propositions of your competitors. This simulation will then suggest how market shares in the category could evolve over time as the value proposition changes you have planned take hold. To log in, simply enter your username and password. When you log in for the first time, you will see a welcome screen. When you click Begin, you will be able to create your first case. Cases are data-rich descriptions of categories, including brand perceptions, important benefits for customers, and growth rates. You need to create a case to then be able to generate scenarios that illustrate potential changes in your category if you reposition your brand. The Case Setup Wizard takes you through 7 steps to create a case. In step 1, you will define your business category. Here you need to enter the name of your business category, a time interval corresponding to a strategic planning period, and the market dynamics for the category. First, give your category a name. The name should match your category definition and be articulated in such a way as to include your major competitors. For example, I am creating a case for the launch of the new MacBook Pro laptop, and I define the category simply as laptops. Now you need to set up a time interval for the simulation. You can select months, quarters, or years, depending on the dynamics of your market. For a very fast-moving market, you might select a few months, whereas for a more mature market, you will select either quarters or years. As the laptop category is fast-moving, with lots of product launches occurring throughout the year, I will select quarters for my time interval, and will start in Q1 of 2016. Now we need to select market dynamics that are most appropriate for the category. We have a choice of high, medium, or low growth. If you indicate that your category is high growth, the simulation will be most reactive to your inputs. Moderate and low growth dynamics will be less reactive. In this example, our growth rate is moderate. As this is a capital product, I assume changes will happen with moderate speed. Step 2. Name your company and its competitors. Now further define your market by entering the name of your brand and the brand name of your competitors. Also, indicate whether you would like to model substitutes, and if you do, the name of the substitute segment. I will enter Apple MacBook Pro as my brand name, and I will enter Dell XSP and Microsoft Surface as competitors. We are also interested in modeling substitutes. In this case, we believe customers consider tablets as an option when looking at laptops. Therefore, I will put tablets as a substitute. Step 3. List the most important benefits in the category. Now, please enter the benefits or variables that customers in the category take into account when making a purchase decision. You may include price, if this is an important consideration to customers in your category, as well as other benefits that your brand provides, as well as benefits provided by your competitors. We will use price, ease of use, weight, display resolution, battery life, and processing speed as the benefits in this example. Step 4. Define the importance of benefits to customers. In this step, you need to define the importance of the benefits using a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 denotes a very important benefit in terms of its weight as a purchase driver, 1 denotes very low importance as a purchase driver, and 5 is a neutral rating. Let's put 7 for price, 8 for ease of use, 8 for weight, 8 for display resolution, 8 for battery life, and 9 for processing speed. Now, for each brand in your category, enter the performance of each competitor as perceived by customers, that is, perceptually, or as measured, that is, quantifiably. This scale for variables which are measured using customer perceptions is 1 indicating low performance to 10 that indicates high performance. Remember that when using the perceptual scale, higher is always better. This can be a little counterintuitive for price, as a high price is equivalent to a low score, and a low price is equivalent to a high score. You can create your own scale for variables that are quantified. If creating your own scale, you will need to enter the unit of measure, for example, currency for prices, and other units of measure for other performance variables. Also, if you're creating your own scale, you need to indicate whether a high number is used for high or low performance. For example, if you're entering cycle time, a high score would indicate low performance. Please note that. For price, we could measure it quantifiably in US dollars, for example, and here we will enter a range between $300 and $2,000. Now, the tool uses that range that you enter to develop its 1 to 10 scale. So in this case, $300 would translate into a perception of 10, and $2,000 will equate to a price perception of 1. The next step is to enter values for each of the variables. We will enter 1,399 for the MacBook Pro price, 1,100 for the XPS, and 1,499 for the Surface. I will also enter $400 for tablets. Now we will enter variable values for the other benefits. Ease of use, which will be measured perceptually, so higher is better. We'll have 8 for the MacBook Pro, 6 for the XPS, and 7 for the Surface, as well as 9 for tablets. We will proceed in this way to complete benefits for all competitors. Step 6. Enter market share. Now enter the unit market share for each of the competitors in the category. We will put in 25% for the MacBook Pro, 40% for XPS, and 35% for Surface. Note that we will choose either unit market share or revenue market share, so just please pick one before you take this step. Now, to size the substitute segment or company, please enter a size relative to the category size. For example, if sales of tablets are 15% of the dollar sales of the category, we will enter 15% for the size of tablets. In step 7 of the case setup wizard, the tool presents derived versus entered importance values for each of the customer benefits you have created. The tool estimates derived importance by looking for values that match perceived performance ratings to market shares. The computer suggests a derived importance value that will be lower or higher than the value you entered for each benefit. Note that the tool uses a solver program to suggest derived values. In cases where there are few competitors relative to the number of variables, there might be several derived values that would make the model in equilibrium. Therefore, each time you refresh this screen, the derived values might change. You do not need to change your inputs to match what the computer suggests. The derived values are shown to call attention to the values you entered and to inspire great discussions in your team. Once you proceed to the Reports section of the tool, you will see a list of reports available to you. The first one is the Perception and Importance report. This is a spider diagram, and it shows importance and perception ratings for the category benefits and all the competitors, including substitutes, and using a scale of 1 to 10, where higher is better. You can click within the chart to highlight each company. You can also highlight each benefit by placing your mouse over a specific data point. The dashed black line represents benefit importance. On the right side of the screen, there is a legend for this chart where you can also click company names to toggle between each company. The main benefit is the category benefit that is most important and where the market leader also dominates. Please note that you can export all report graphics by clicking the download arrow at the lower left corner of each report. The benefit competitive plot shows perception ratings by competitor for two category benefits. In big picture, we call these the main and dynamic benefit. The computer defaults to the main benefit as calculated for the category, but you can select to plot any benefit by using the drop-down menu on the right side of the screen. Here, as in the other charts in the simulation, you can click each competitor on the right side legend to toggle. This is to show or hide their data in the screen. Bubble size here and in other bubble charts corresponds to the market share assigned to each competitor. The benefit plot shows importance and perception ratings for different category benefits and competitors in the category. You can click on any benefit available to the right side of the screen to view data corresponding to that particular benefit for all competitors. Again, in this chart, bubble size corresponds to the market share assigned to each competitor. The price to total benefit chart compares the sum of importance and perception ratings for all benefits excluding price to the price charged by each competitor. The y-axis in this chart corresponds to the price level, so the bubbles that are placed high in the y-axis correspond to brands that are priced higher. We have included a diagonal line in this chart to represent the parity between price and total benefits. Bubbles that are above the line offer an advantage combination of price relative to total brand benefits. We should expect those brands' market shares to increase over time as customers migrate to them from more expensive brands. Now, brands below the line offer a disadvantageous combination of price and total benefit. We can expect those brands' market shares to decrease over time as customers migrate to cheaper brands. The next plot is the brand value and the brand factor chart. This chart compares a brand's value, calculated as the total benefits delivered by the brand, including price, against the brand's market share, and it calculates a brand factor. The brand factor is the weight of a compensated variable. For example, the trust in the brand name, or perhaps a variable inadvertently excluded from the analysis, distribution or contracted terms, for example, that helps explain the difference between a brand's overall value, as measured by the total bundle of customer benefits it offers, and its current market share. The market share chart shows the current shares for all competitors. On the left of the screen, there is a pie chart showing current brand shares in the category. Immediately to its right, there is an area chart showing market shares over time. Initially, this chart only has a data point for each competitor. However, it will fill over time once you construct a scenario and you generate more data points. You can hover over any of these charts to show individual brand information. The last report is category penetration. Here you find graphics illustrating the size of substitutes relative to the size of the category. The area chart in the center of the screen shows time series data as you advance the simulation. The bar chart underneath shows the relative share of each competitor and of the substitute segment for the current period. If you do not have substitutes, this chart will not appear under your reports. We are now going to create a scenario in order to activate our value proposition. In other words, what might happen to certain market variables when we change the value proposition of our brand. A powerful aspect of the value proposition visualizer is our ability to model changes in the business category given changes in the value proposition of the competitors and substitutes within it. From any report, click the Create Scenario button on the top right of the screen. Once in the scenario creation screen, I am able to create a scenario by entering a set of strategies for each of the competitors in the category and for the substitutes. I can create a strategy by inputting changes to the customer benefits offered by different brands. I can change both importance and perception, and can do so in the quantifiable numerical scales I had created earlier, or I can use a 1 to 10 perceptual scale depending on what type of variable I am making changes to. So here we're going to create a scenario for the MacBook Pro case. I would like to visualize what could happen if Apple drops its price from its current level of $1,399 to $1,000. This is a pretty significant price drop. This price change is a change in perception. I would like it to take place just in a single period, as price drops are generally done all at once. So what I'm going to do is enter 1 after the word over, and I will also have this change happen 2 quarters from the start time of the model. As we are in Q1 of 2016, this change will take place in Q3 of 2016. Now, in specifying the time period for a change, I am indirectly creating a time frame for the model. So in this case, this model will last 3 periods based on the change I've just inputted and will end in Q4 of 2016. Now, this particular scenario is going to be a bit more complex than just a change in price. I am also going to assume that Apple is improving the battery life of the MacBook Pro and that Dell does as well. So I'm going to enter a change in the importance of battery life from 8 to 10 to make this innovation more impactful in the marketplace, and we'll also enter a new simulation time period. I'm going to make the Apple battery life change happen over 2 quarters, starting 2 quarters from now. Now for Dell, the improvement in battery life will happen over 3 quarters and will start 3 quarters from now. So note that this last change for Dell has just extended our simulation time period to 6 quarters, 3 plus 3. Now, once I've created a scenario, I will name it and hit save. I can now go back through each of the report screens and run the model to see the changes to perception and importance that I've made, but also to understand what might happen to other variables. Of particular interest to me is how the scenario I have created might affect my brand's market share and the degree of substitution between substitutes, in this case tablets, and the category, i.e. laptops. You might want to direct your attention to the market share report and the category penetration report to understand these changes to market share and substitution. You can create as many scenarios for a particular case as you want. Once you have created a scenario, you can edit it from any report page. However, to create a new scenario, you will need to go to the Scenario Manager and click the green Create Scenario button at the bottom of that screen to create a new scenario. You can always create and edit scenarios after you have created a case. However, notice that you cannot edit the base case once you have created associated scenarios. This is to maintain the integrity of each of the scenarios within a case. So if you would like to change the base case assumptions once you've created scenarios, including the rate of change in the market, low, moderate, or high growth, you will need to copy the base case. If you do, please be sure to change the name of your base case as to avoid confusion when you are sorting through your cases in the Case Manager screen. Each case and each scenario can have associated target audience descriptions and positioning tools. To access the target audience description, you need to click on the target icon within the case or the scenario manager. You can also access the target audience description page from the positioning page by clicking on the blue box at the top left side of the screen. This will take you to the target audience description page where you will be able to enter a target audience description for your case or scenario. In the target audience description page, you can also enter the name of the fundamental entity. You can select a main and a dynamic benefit and a marketing objective and source of volume decision by using drop-down menus on the left side of the page. These menus exist simply so you can remind yourself of the strategy you are articulating through the target and positioning tools. You can access the positioning page by clicking on the blue positioning box at the top left of the targeting screen, or by clicking the positioning icon within the Scenario Manager page or the Case Manager page. Once you are in positioning, you are able to create a 6-box positioning tool by entering text in the current belief and behavior and desired belief and behavior, as well as in the customer proposition and reasons to believe boxes. As is the case in targeting, here we can also enter some additional details by using drop-down menus. You can select a message focus. Are you trying to change customer perceptions or the importance of a benefit? You can also enter a risk focus. Are you trying to use a prevention frame for your value proposition, or will you be using a promotion frame for your value proposition? Finally, what proof or support will you develop as reasons to believe? You can use the clickable boxes on the left side of the screen to select the support type. Note that the targeting and positioning page you create in any scenario within a case will be available to other scenarios. You can simply edit them to change them if you would like to have different targeting and positionings for each of the scenarios you create.